Good morning. It's a joy to have you with us. As you enter our sanctuary, please rise in body and spirit and join us in our welcome song, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing. There's a soul. One more time, river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul.
Welcome to the Sunday morning worship service at DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Doug Coker-Cowan, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees. Unitarian Universalism is a faith tradition committed to creating a just and flourishing world for all people. Our Universalist theology tells us that every person is worthy of love. Thus, when we say, whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. This is our message of love to you, inviting your whole self into the space to help us co-create a world centered on our values. We invite you to learn more about us and consider joining this community to enact our values of equity, justice, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. If you would like to explore ways to connect and get involved, please stop by the Newcomers Welcome between services in the lower annex or contact Tina Lewis, Director of Membership and Engagement. We have two announcements this morning. Thanks to you, we can give back again this year because of the generosity of many of our members. The Financial Advisory Committee identified $11,000 of our endowment available for grants. The Board of Trustees is accepting applications for projects from now until March 31st, which is only a couple days away. It will announce the projects that will receive money by April 26th. The application for the grants can be found on our website under upcoming events and in the weekly newsletters. You can identify You can identify the link to the application by the graphic of the money tree. It is that time of year again. The Special Collection Task Force is asking the congregation to nominate local nonprofit organizations to be part of our special collection effort. As we live out our values in our communities, the task force is accepting nominations for the 2026 to 2027 fiscal year that begins in July. Consider nominating an organization where you volunteer, receive services, or just admire their good works. You can find the Special Collections nomination form in Thursday's weekly email and on the Coffee Hour Facebook page. Deadline for nominations is in 2 days, Tuesday, March 31st. Now, if you are online, I invite you to greet each other through the chat, and if you are present here, I invite you to turn to someone you did not come with and greet them with a wave and a good morning greeting.
Together, we light this chalice to center ourselves in this sacred moment. We call upon our ancestors, those who tended the flame before us. We call upon our children, whose brilliant spark remind us to seek out courage and challenge. We call upon one another to remind us we are never alone on life's journey. We call upon ourselves to hear the call of this flame and to nurture it with love.
Welcome to this place of love, of communal flourishing. We enter this worship space to open our hearts, to expand our minds, and to see the sacred within each other. Come, let us worship together.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in our opening hymn, number 62, When the Daffodils Arrive.
Good morning. My name is Chris Weber. Throughout March, the wonderful people running the Promise campaign have asked several members to talk to you all about tending the nest. This theme is especially relevant as the weather continues to improve. I've noticed that this time of year, our moments of silence inside this sanctuary are often accompanied by the welcome songs of migratory birds. As they return from their winter travels, along with the warmer weather, birds stop to enjoy what remains of the native plants nurtured by our congregation. Some of our flying friends will take a few pieces of our wild garden to build their own nests. For them, building a nest near this remnant of a prairie offers the promise of a summer bounty full of insects and plenty of seeds in the coming months. My first time in this sanctuary was several winters ago. For those of you who have attended the winter solstice ceremony, you know it can be transformative. On the darkest day of the year, we gather here to welcome change and celebrate time together. Looking back, this was a particularly dark period in my life, and I feel lucky to have been invited to the service. For me, growing up in churches that did not include the solstice in their calendars, the winter solstice celebration was a truly unique experience. It made me realize that this church was different from others. I still wasn't sure it was the right place for me. I've been to many churches throughout my life, and at that point, joining a church was not on my list of things to do. Despite my reluctance, I was curious, and for many months, I attended from a distance. I watched the Sunday services on YouTube on occasion, and after enjoying Reverend Mandy's messages for a while, I eventually set up an alert to remind me to watch live on Sunday mornings. To my surprise, for the first time as an adult, I found myself enjoying church. One Sunday, I was particularly moved by a message about the interconnectedness of all things. This particular service was on June 9th, 2024, if you guys want to go back and watch the video. The speaker used fungi as an illustrative example, and as an avid mushroom hunter and amateur mycologist, this was the moment that it all clicked for me. I knew then that I wanted to be a part of this community, and I haven't been disappointed. At a time when the world is literally screaming for social justice, this congregation is actively working to make the world a better place. I'm proud to be in a community with all of you. One of the things I appreciate most about this community is that we are encouraged to find our own spiritual paths. Nobody tells us what we are supposed to believe, and if they do, we're free to disagree. I also value how we embrace complexity and foster a deeper sense of interconnectedness among one another. More specifically, I appreciate spending time with intelligent people and learning about all of your diverse experiences. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I actually belong to a church. Along with this belonging comes the opportunity to play my part in tending this nest. Like many of you, I'm happy to serve on a committee. I've volunteered my time to beautify church grounds, which is coming up, I think, in a couple weeks again. And as an AV team member, I sometimes work behind the scenes to help others enjoy our worship services online. While my audio production skills could benefit from some more experience, I found all of these efforts rewarding. In the coming years, I hope to increase my financial contributions to the church as well. I recently completed grad school, and I'm on the hunt for a new career. I do have resumes if anybody's interested. Before coming to DUUC, I had all but given up hope of finding a church community where I fit in. I'll happily do what I can to ensure this place is welcoming to the next group of wandering travelers who fly this way.
Thanks, Chris. Wow, we've been really blessed this month to hear from 5 of our members. It's been really fantastic. My name's Kathy Neff, and I am the chair of the Stewardship Committee. And most of you probably know why I'm here today. Do you? Yes, I think you do. But before I remind you to make your pledge for this year, if you haven't, and thanks to those who have, I want to share some of why I know people love this place, and they make it their spiritual home. You've heard from several of our members so far. But through conversations with members over the past year, wait, I lost my place. Okay, here I am. I asked, what motivates you to give? And I heard really interesting things like, the church saved my life. All my friends are at church. My life is here. For the kids, because RE is important. This is our spiritual home now. Community. The mission and making progress toward it. And finally, because giving something is important. You've also heard from our wonderful speakers all month who've shared about why DUUC is important and even central in their lives, and why they want to tend our nest. So I'd ask you to reflect on what this church means to you, or even what you would like it to mean to you. We give because of the opportunities the church gives us today. Opportunities for community, for relationship and support, for growing spiritually, and to contribute towards social justice in the community around us. But we also give because we're investing. We're investing in the future, especially for our kids and their kids. So just a little status update for this year's Tending Our Nest campaign. We started the month with 15% of pledge units pledged. A pledge unit, remember, is a person, it's a couple. Some couples give separately, so that counts as 2 pledge units. We have about 230 pledge units altogether. And 15% had pledged by March 1st with $235,000 raised. That was called the leadership giving phase. By mid-month, we were at 35% and a total of around $390,000. And as of this morning, I always have late-breaking updates on Sunday morning. We're at 56% of pledge units pledged, right around, we broke the $500,000 mark, around $503,000. So thank you all to have pledged so far. Yeah, that's good. And just a reminder of the baseline, last year we raised around $589,000. So we don't have a specific dollar target. We're just trying to go above $589 for this year's, and we're well on our way to do it. And I just want to say, some people pledge a lot, some people pledge a little. It doesn't matter. What matters is the giving, right? So pledge, because I've been thinking about Bernie Sanders. How did he raise millions and millions of dollars? $28 at a time, right? One small pledge after another. So if you're not a member, you can still pledge. We have pledging friends. So just contact Tina Lewis or myself if you would like to do that. And we want to say too, because Realm is so confusing, pledging is a separate step from setting up monthly payments. You don't have to set up a monthly payment or monthly, quarterly, and you don't have to set up your payment in Realm. That's for if you want it automatically taken out of your bank account periodically. You could just write a check, once, twice, however many times a year. Or there's other ways of donating. Stock, qualified distributions out of your IRA. Right, so the pledge is in Realm. We also want to say, if you have trouble with Realm, you can reach out to us, or you can just email the church office and, contact Sherry Regalado and let her know how much you want to pledge. So we want to make it easy for you. We apologize if it's been difficult with Realm, but we know we can get there. So I have one final question, and you probably think it's going to be, when are pledges due by? When are they due by? The 31st. That, friends, is Tuesday, okay? But that was not my question. I threw that in. That was the second question. Here's the question. How many of you have been wishing, like really wishing, that someone from the stewardship committee would call you? That's what I thought, right? Okay, so we know that some of you love to wait till the last minute. You want to make it really exciting for us. But if you would like to avoid getting that phone call, all right, please pledge in Realm or contact the church office before Tuesday. And so finance and the board, they're right in the middle of budgeting. This would really help them just get visibility into what we all intend to give. Or just contact Tina Lewis, myself. I'll be out there for a little while after the service. So on behalf of the Stewardship Committee, we are so grateful for your generous support of this year's Promise campaign. Thank you.
The mission statement of DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church reminds us of who we agreed to be, who we are. Please join me in reading our mission statement. We gather as an inclusive community to grow in character, mind, and spirit, and to transform the world toward fairness, love, and compassion. The vision statement of DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church is our dream, who we wish to become. Please join me in reading our vision statement. We strive to boldly enact our values toward a just world as we nurture our growth to become a more inclusive and deeply connected intergenerational community. Our vision of beloved community is rooted in the relationships we have with each other, our world, and creation. Each week we share our joys and sorrows. This week we have 2 joys, well, 3 if you want to count our lovely flowers here, which are from Jack Seacrest Memorial Service yesterday. Perry wants to thank everyone for their support and love. And we have a joy from Alexis Traki. It was a joy to see so many DUC folks at Trans Stories of Resilience at Hinsdale UU Church on Friday night. It was a night full of courage and hope, and a reminder that advocates and allies of the LGBTQ community must visibly and loudly show our support. Thank you, Alexis. And we found tremendous joy in participating in the Naperville No Kings rally and seeing so many people there and around the country speaking out against this regime. We found particular joy in Carl leading the crowd in protest songs with such energy and inspiration. And that was Dave and Pat Welsh. When the cares of the world weigh on us, may we find joy and solace in our connections with each other and in the pleasures that life holds. Let us care for one another and ourselves in all the ways that we can. As we hold each other in our hearts and minds, with all our joys and all our sorrows, let us join together in a moment of meditative silence.
Today, as you know, is Palm Sunday. And in the same way that Jesus humbly entered Jerusalem to challenge the powers that be and restore righteousness, 8 million humble people stepped into the streets yesterday to challenge the powers that be in the pursuit of justice and freedom. So I invite you now to spend a couple of minutes reflecting on what the pursuit of justice and freedom means for you, and to consider what you would be willing to sacrifice in this pursuit. So I will use the singing bowl to indicate that 2 minutes have passed. You get 2 minutes to sit in reflection. May we find the strength and courage always to carry out our good intentions amidst our daily challenges.
Good morning. It is time to gather, and I would like to invite all the kids and young at heart to come forward and join me for a story. Come on up. And I'm going to sit back here behind the table, so you'll need to come over here so you can see me, and so you can see the pictures on the wall. So in these fine days of spring, where we have some nice days where we can go outside and some not so nice days, have you ever looked up in the sky and saw the big fluffy clouds and noticed maybe what shapes they might make? Is there any shapes that you've noticed that are different, Emma or Ella? Horses? A dragon? Ooh. What have you seen, Graham? Different foods. Ella.
I've seen teeth.
Teeth. All right. Ash?
One time, I saw Santa.
You saw Santa? Big fluffy beard? Flowy hair? Yeah, yeah. So my story today is titled Noticing, written by Kobe Yamada and illustrated by Elise Hurst. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? It seemed as if someone was talking to me. It's okay, I guess, I replied. Just okay? A woman sitting nearby responded. Why, we have the birds, the trees, the sky. The questions, the what ifs, and the why nots. I'd say this is indeed an exceptional day to be alive. Don't you think? If you say so, I shrugged. It seemed like an ordinary day to me. Are you a painter? I asked. I like to think of myself as more of a noticer, really, she answered. I just try to make things from what I see. It is my way of appreciating and honoring them. As I looked at her canvas, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. How could someone create something so amazing, I wondered. She was definitely a painter. She looked over to me and asked, "When you look up, what do you see?" "Clouds." "You see clouds, that's all? Just clouds?" the painter asked, astonished. "I think so," I said, uncertain, as I scanned the sky. "Why, what do you see?" "Oh, so much," she said excitedly. "It's like the whole sky is tempting me to be amazed. I see wild horses running free and upside-down castles. I see whales flying like songbirds and a dragon breathing fire. But it's not only that. I'm filled with butterflies of excitement. It feels like an adventure is unfolding, and I don't want to miss any of it." I stared up, wanting to see what she saw. "The more you pause and allow for the extraordinary," the painter explained, "the more you find it. And often what we see depends on what we look for. Take this mountain, for instance," and she gestured to the horizon. A climber might see a great challenge. A scientist might see the movement of an ancient glacier. And someone else might notice the cool breeze traveling from its snowy peaks. Though we all may look at the same thing, we don't always see it the same way. And that is true for mountains and also for people. When we look at others, we may see their faces or their clothes, she continued. But we are only seeing a tiny piece of who they really are. We often didn't notice the important things, like their capacity for love, what they hope for, what they dream of, or who they can become. We can often miss the most beautiful parts of them. I wondered what I wasn't noticing. I wondered what I was missing. "What do you see in you?" the painter asked. And I looked down at my hands and my clothes, my shoes. They were a size too big so I could grow into them. Just a kid, like any other kid, I suppose. But you are not like anyone else. In fact, there isn't another person exactly like you anywhere, the painter encouraged. And the amazing thing is, there never has been and there never will ever again. "I'm not sure there's anything at all special about me," I said. "Oh, but everything is special about you. There really isn't a single thing about you that isn't extraordinary," she shared enthusiastically. "You are the rare and unique combination of what was and the bright possibility of what can be. And you know what? So is everyone else. Everyone shines and needs to be seen. Everyone wants to know that they matter, that there is a place for them, that they are needed. Sure, some may hide their brilliance, but the light is in there, always flickering, and it is a beautiful thing when we can reflect it back to them." I always looked forward to my visits with the painter. I had to admit, as much as I couldn't wait to see her, I also couldn't wait to see what she saw. On one occasion, I went to go find her, and she was sitting peacefully with her eyes shut. "What are you doing?" I asked shyly, not wanting to interrupt her. "Hello, you," she smiled and waved me over. "Some days I find that I can notice even more when I close my eyes," she explained. The gentle rustling of my hair, the ideas dancing in my head, the sunshine on my face, and the wonder of being alive. She invited me to close my eyes. What does home look like to you? What does kindness feel like? What does love look like? The painter asked. What does it feel like to have a friend? What does it look like to be one? One of the most important ways we see is in our imagination. So many significant things cannot be seen with our eyes, but they are very real. And it is vital that you look for and believe in them. I was filled with the feeling of calm and appreciation. It was moving and wonderful, and I sat there with my eyes closed, picturing the people and places and things that meant so much to me in my life. One of the best things you can be is interested, the painter shared. When you are interested, you are curious. And when you're curious, you discover things, amazing things, about yourself and about the world. The miraculous is everywhere and in everything, waiting for us to notice it, waiting for us to appreciate it, waiting for us to love it. It has been years since that day when I first met the painter. I miss her. I wish she was still here so I could tell her what she meant to me and how she helped me to look at everything differently. But mostly, what I wish I could say is thank you for seeing me. Thank you for listening and noticing and being interested. Let's sing to the children.
The giving of our treasure is how we reciprocate the many gifts we are given by this community and how we live our values in the world. Each Sunday, we offer our financial gifts to both this congregation and to an organization who gives life to these values and makes a difference in this world. Stevie Wonder once said, "Just because a man lacks the use of his eyes doesn't mean that he lacks vision." The special collection this month will help support Spectrios Institute, a unique not-for-profit institution dedicated to comprehensive, multidisciplinary low vision care. Nominated by DUC member Sarah Baldwin, the Institute offers functional vision exams, personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapy, and adaptive technology training and support for children and adults with visual impairments. As we pass our offering plate, know that it is a vessel that connects us to each other through our gratitude and generosity. So, give freely of your thankfulness and abundance, that our values can forever take hold in this world.
I invite you to rise in body and spirit in our next hymn, Almond Trees Renewed in Bloom. Almond trees renewed in bloom, do they not proclaim life returning year by year, love that will remain? Almond blossoms, sign of life in the face of pain, raises hope in people's hearts. Spring will come again, or destroys all thousandfold. Hatred scars the earth, but the day that almonds bloom is a time of birth. Friends, give thanks for almond blooms swaying in the wind, token that the gift of life triumphs in the end. Token that the gift of life triumphs in the end.
Good morning. So I had planned about a 20-minute talk about our Unitarian Universalist theologian, Anthony Penn. He really does deserve a full 20 minutes for us to take a deep dive into his theology. But since we're already at the quarter till mark, I think I'm going to save that sermon for when I return next year and do another 2 services for this congregation. So instead, I'd like to pivot and remind everyone that I'm an academic theologian, which means that I have a PhD in theology, and I write theology at a level for other academic theologians, but one of my passions is to bridge between the academy and people in the pews and help folks make sense of what the academy is doing, because, of course, they're doing interesting work. And so it is helpful to us to engage them at a level that makes sense to us and that we can take into our own lives and process into our own theology. So I'm just going to open the floor for about 10 minutes and let you ask me questions related to theology. I think that will be interesting for us. So I'm hoping that you can think of some questions really quickly, since I'm asking you to pivot as well. I'll just say I was raised a Unitarian Universalist, which makes me unusual, I know. I'm one of 3 siblings, and I'm the only one who is still a Unitarian Universalist. So this is a common story among us. But it means that I didn't come to this tradition from another tradition. This is my home tradition. And so I think that I've framed my own theology in ways that are particular to our faith tradition, which is a gift, honestly, that I feel was given to me by having been raised in this tradition. So, any questions that people might, oh my gosh, okay, I thought this might happen. Yes?
Reverend Miriam, what's an interesting question you've been thinking about in the last couple months?
Well, so I am working on a research project at the moment.
Could you repeat the question?
Oh, the question was, what question have I been thinking about deeply for the last couple of months? So I'm currently working on a book project and in conversation with a publisher about it, which is a book about white evangelicals. And it's a fact-based portrait. So I start from data. Another hat that I wear is as a journalist. So as I'm bringing theology and religious questions, I analyze religion in public life, in the news. And so that came out of my interests. Like, I grew up in a small town in Missouri, so I grew up among white evangelicals, and decided I could take some of my skills, both analytical and journalistic, to this question. So the question for me the last couple of months in researching white evangelicals is, what do I learn from them? And what do I take away that I can incorporate into my own theology and religious thinking? And what other things do I put aside? But also the challenge of translating. As I think about how can this be meaningful to me, taking something I would not normally agree with at face value, but what's behind that question? What is behind that answer? And how does it mean something to me personally? And to set aside some of my own issues and really have an open mind, which is the gift I take from this tradition, a truly open mind, and start with no opinion whatsoever and take a deep look at what's going on within this tradition. All right, yes?
Would you please define God from your point of view?
So I treat God as a construct. I'm not interested in the question of whether God exists or not, but I recognize it's a very important idea for many, many people, including myself. I often say I was raised without God, so of course I want one. So I treat God as a construct. I'm willing to guess that for everyone sitting here, God has a different meaning. So it's something that we construct for ourselves out of how we were raised, texts that we read, the news, our predilections as an individual, our psychology, our sociology. And so that's what I'm interested in. And so the book that grew out of my dissertation is called Constructing Moral Concepts of God in a Global Age. So I'm all about developing a method to construct a moral God, because I think that if our God is moral, that we ourselves are more likely to be moral, since that is what guides us in this life, if we have a God to whom we turn in a significant way. Yes?
short of coming to church every day, how does one carry out one's theology in life?
Well, that depends what your theology is. But of course, that's a challenge for everyone. So if we do have a theology, then I think to start every day with an intention to honor that, and a very specific intention about what that's going to look like that today, is a very good idea of how to carry out your theology every day. So start the day with maybe a prayer, a meditation, a reading from a text. Lectio Divina is a lovely idea that we get from the Catholic tradition, and set an intention for today. Yes?
I feel like the line between church and state has become blurred in recent years. And I'm wondering, what is the opinion amongst the theologians you speak with about the separation of church and state?
So so how would I answer that theologically? Again, I think it would depend on the person's theology. Most academic theologians tend to veer on the left side of the political spectrum. So they would approach that question more, I think, from their own politics rather than theologically. There's a saying among theologians of you back into your theology, and I would say that's what I see. You start at it from your political inclinations, and then you find theological warrant for that position. I have coined a term I would call secular nationalism, and I'll just leave you with that. Okay, Kelly.
Yeah, I was wondering how you would define theology from a UU perspective, since most of us think of theology as, relating to God, and not all UUs have a God at all.
So Penn actually has a lot to say about that, so I would have been discussing about that with you today. I would say that, and I would agree with Penn, that theology is still a word that is very present in our current conversation and among many people, millions of people in the United States. And so Penn has no use particularly anymore for the word God, but he recognizes that theology can still be an important term. So then it's up to us to define what that term means. And he believes that there's enough flexibility and it's worthy enough of being redefined that we should do so. And I would agree with him. So theology meaning, of course, the study of God. But then what does God mean to you? What would that study look like? And can you stretch that word to mean something important to you that you can use in conversation? And when others are talking to you about theology, can sort of filter both through your understanding of it, as well as be present enough to understand and perceive how they're using it, perhaps differently from you. So obviously, I don't agree with Penn that we're done with the word God. So I've defined God in my own way. And so I filter other people's conversations through that lens, but also I'm always very interested in how they're constructing their concept of God, what it means to them. So I don't get bound up in, is this real or not? This question doesn't interest me. It's more, how have you constructed your God? That interests me. Okay, I'll take one more question if there is one.
Which social justice causes are you personally most interested in?
So part of my journalism is to look at religion in public life, so the news, so politics. And so as a reporter, it's become very important to me to remain absolutely neutral. And so you will not ever know what my politics are. I am very determined to, in my outer conversations, be absolutely neutral. I'm interested in what people tell me and analyzing it, but very much from a neutral and objective perspective. And that's become my signature, really, as a journalist. People will attack what's written in the piece, but never me, because they don't know how I think about any of this. They just see what I've analyzed and what I present. So, yeah, it's been a challenge. Like, I can't donate to political causes. I can't, donate to any organization that has political affiliation. So that's my participation is really in informing people by my writing, whether it's journalistic or research-driven, like my book on white evangelicals, or my constructive theology. So I do continue to also participate in academic writing and academic conferences. Okay, well, thank you for these amazing questions. I hope it's been interesting to you. And I will save Tony Pinn's African-American, non-theistic humanism for another time.
But we can still sing, so let's rise. Number 6, just as long as I have breath. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though the pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. As long as they should last, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. As long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Get to my page here. So for my benediction, I want to share some words of praise for Unitarian Universalists that Tony Penn, the theologian I was going to deal with today, included in his End of God Talk book, which was the basis of my sermon. So I hope you will leave the sanctuary today feeling appreciated by an African-American, non-theist humanist like him, and energized for the work of racial justice, which was something else I was going to talk about. So this is Penn now talking. The Unitarian Universalist Association, UUA, has for decades served as an institutional home for some African-American non-theist humanists because of its commitment to a non-doctrinal community and its resulting comfort with congregations of varying theological orientations. While the relationship between African Americans and the UUA has involved significant rough patches, primarily revolving around issues of race relations within the church, it has also maintained both mixed and primarily Black congregations in which metaphysical assertions take a back seat. One reason some African Americans have remained in the UUA in spite of cultural difficulties revolves around the manner in which the appeal to social justice, the framework of liberative activism, is expressed in terms of human accountability and responsibility without the implicit and explicit links to notions of the transcendent and biblical notions of divine intervention.
Please join me in reading our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the light of this chalice, but not the light in our hearts. Until we meet again, may the warmth of our community carry you.